The Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions as they knock off the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35 in Super Bowl 57. They take home their second Lombardi trophy in 4 seasons and their third Super Bowl appearance in 4 seasons as well. An instant classic. Some controversy potentially at the end. It depends on how you view it. If you view it through an Eagles glasses or through Chiefs glasses, we'll explain that in a second. But I do think we just first have to talk about how special this game was. I mean, this was a phenomenal football game. 38-35. The Chiefs trailed 24-14 at halftime, and really Philadelphia was in control. Had it not been for a Nick Bolton scoop and score on an unforced error by Jalen Hurts where he just drops the ball and Bolton scoops it out, it could have been 24-7 at halftime, but it was 24-14. Chiefs come out and get 7. Basically played the perfect second half. They were not stopped the entire second half. Outscored Philadelphia 24-11 to win 38-35. Patrick Mahomes has officially won Super Bowl MVP. We'll talk about him, and then we'll talk about the late game sequence that people are going to be talking about for a very, very long time. Let's talk about the quarterback. Look, he didn't throw for 300 or 350, but the Chiefs only had the ball for 24 minutes, and Mahomes played a damn near perfect game. 21-27, 182 yards, 3 touchdowns, very efficient, no mistakes, and he also rushed for 44 yards on a high ankle sprain, including a 25-yard scramble on the game-winning field goal drive to set them up in field goal range. That was a gutsy play. It seems like in big games, he's always good for one big-time scramble, and he found a way to do that there. He did it against Cincinnati. He did it here. And at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes made enough winning plays to win this football game. Again, the stats don't jump off the page, but you know what? His passer rating in this game was 132. That's damn near perfect. 158.3 is a perfect game. Patrick Mahomes made no mistakes. The Chiefs didn't turn it over. The Eagles had a turnover. That resulted in 7 for Kansas City. That's really the difference in the game. We'll also talk about the late game penalty in just a second. But grading Mahomes against the Eagles, A, B, C, D, or F. I'll go A- because we've seen him throw for 350, 400 and play equally as well. But to play that efficient, shout out to the offensive line for keeping Mahomes upright. I thought Mahomes made great decisions. Again, I'm sure Skip Bayless will go on Fox Sports tomorrow and say how Mahomes stinks and how he only threw for 182 yards. Go watch that game. Tell me where Mahomes made a mistake. He just didn't make one. A, B, C, D, or F, grade Mahomes' play against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Chiefs Kingdom, you are champions once again, and if you want to pick up your Super Bowl champs gear, you can do so by going to chatsports.com/ChiefsSB, chatsports.com/ChiefsSB. Pick up hoodies, hats, T-shirts, some other items are going to be available there as well. That link will be in the description of this video. It'll be replied to the pinned comment as well. So click and shop today, chatsports.com/ChiefsSB, chatsports.com/ChiefsSB. Let's talk about the late game penalty because that's obviously going to garner a lot of attention over the next several days and especially tomorrow at sports talk radio stations and national TV shows all over the country. I'm sure we'll talk about it again here as well on the Chiefs Report. It's 3rd and 9. Eagles get good pressure, and Juju Smith-Schuster runs like a slant out and up. It was almost like a 3-part route, and Juju cuts across the middle, and as he pivots to go back, James Bradbury kind of hooks him on his hip. Now, is it a massive hold? Is it a obvious where the jersey is flung out like this and everybody in the stadium can see it? No, but by the letter of the law, you cannot hook him like that on the back hip. And look, producer Rolly and I disagreed. He was in the camp of you don't call that in that spot, and I understand that mindset, but I think by definition, that is defensive holding. There was also contact a little bit later in the route. I actually think that was not enough to garner a penalty, but they threw it, and obviously the Chiefs were basically able to just take a knee and kick a field goal with 8 seconds left. Look, as a pure football fan, I don't want a game to end that way, but I do think by definition it was a penalty. Is it fun for that to happen? This was an instant classic. No one wants to see it in that way. But it is what it is, and it just ends up going down like that, and ultimately the Chiefs were able to win 38-35. Let's talk about some other performers in this game. Travis Kelce came out hot, had 3 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown early in this game. Was a little quiet after that, but had a couple of catches late. How about Juju Smith-Schuster? I believe all 7 of his catches were in the second half. For sure, 6 of them were. I'd have to go back and double check, but he had some critical third down conversions. I thought he was fantastic. Jarrett McKinnon had a couple of catches as well. Almost scored a touchdown, but was tackled at the 1-yard line. Philadelphia did a good job of limiting possession, but the Chiefs had 8 possessions and scored 31 offensive points. That's pretty efficient, guys, against a damn good Eagles defense. Kansas City maximized their possessions because they had to, because the defense couldn't get off the field consistently enough, and the Eagles were going 5-minute, 6-minute, 7-minute drives. But Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City, they were efficient. They scored. They ran the ball well. They averaged 6 yards a carry, the Chiefs did. Chiefs offense did what they had to do. They did what they had to do to win this game, and that is as simple as it gets. Will the Chiefs repeat next season and get 3 in 5 years? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I think they enter next year as the favorites. Mahomes is coming back. Chris Jones is under contract. Really none of your super key guys. I mean, they'll have to make a decision on Juju, McCole Hardman, but he didn't play the second half of the season with McCole Hardman. I think he's probably gone anyway. So will the Chiefs repeat as Super Bowl champs? Type Y for yes or type in for no. Talk about the defense a little bit more. I thought they really struggled, to be honest. Better job in the second half, but the Chiefs' defense could not get off the field in the first half. I'm just going to read off some of the Eagles' drives here. You ready for this? Opening drive of the game, straight down the field. 11 plays, 75 yards, almost 5 minutes off the clock. Second drive, Chiefs defense gets a 3 and out. That was big. Third drive, 5 plays, 68 yards, 2.5 minutes off the clock. That was when Jalen Hurts threw a jump ball into double coverage and A.J. Brown caught it. Trent McDuffie completely misjudged it. Next drive, scoop and score for Nick Bolton, so that was a huge play for the defense. But the next drive after that, 12 plays, 75 yards, over 7 minutes off the clock. Final drive of the half, 8 plays, 40 yards, and a field goal for Philadelphia. Eagles next drive, 17 plays, 60 yards, 7:49 off the clock. Now, the Chiefs held them to a field goal, which was big. It kept it a 1-score game. But the point I'm making, before the next drive was a 3 and out, then another 75-yard drive over 5 minutes, the Eagles drove it and drove it consistently. Now, the Chiefs' defense made a couple of key plays. Nick Bolton was fantastic, had a scoop and score, had a bunch of tackles too. But it goes back to the offense. People are going to talk about Mahomes only threw for 182. They didn't have the ball, guys. The Chiefs had the ball for 24 minutes. I mean, that is a huge time of possession discrepancy. And, you know, made a couple plays in the fourth quarter defensively to do just well enough. The Chiefs' offense had to play perfect in the second half to win, and they did. They scored every single time they had the ball. 3 touchdowns and the game-winning field goal. They were not stopped. So that's how it goes. Nick Bolton, 9 tackles, fumble recovery, scoop and score. Almost had a second one. L'Jarius Sneed popped an Eagles receiver, but they deemed that it was a football move. It was not made, so it was incomplete. I actually think that was the right call. I didn't think that the Eagles player had enough time to make a football move, but Bolton was everywhere. I think he was the one Chiefs defensive player that made play after play in this game. He was always around the football, so that was good. Isiah Pacheco was another secondary impactful guy, 15 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown. He was terrific. And then we got to talk about Kadarius Toney. I mean, he catches a touchdown, and he has a punt return run all the way down inside the 5. I mean, he was huge in this game on a couple of key plays. So that trade, regardless of what happens from here on out, you probably don't win this Super Bowl without Kadarius Toney. That trade is already a success for Kansas City. Even if he's a bust the rest of the way, which I don't think he will be, but even if he is, he helped you get a Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, when you make a trade like that, you're hoping to find a guy that helps you make a play or two in the playoffs, and that is exactly what he did tonight. Hit the subscribe button here on the Chiefs Report if you want more Chiefs news, rumors. We'll be live again tomorrow. We go live every Monday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central Time. The road to try and do it again starts tomorrow. I mean, that's the reality. Obviously, the Chiefs will celebrate this one for a few days, but for Brett Veach, it's back to work. Bring back whichever free agents he deems necessary, make any trades or moves in the draft that can help this roster get back to this stage once again, and we'll be here for all of it. So hit that sub button. Help us reach 40,000 subscribers as we are closing in on that number. Chiefs 38, Eagles 35. Just some final thoughts. What a game. I mean, the storyline's coming in. Yeah, Andy Reid going up against his former franchise. Travis and Jason Kelce playing against each other. Patrick Mahomes nursing an ankle injury. How effective would he be? He was pretty well, even though he tweaked that injury late in the first half. This game had everything. And unfortunately, it had a game that's going to draw a play that's going to draw controversy late in the game. But I'll stand by it. I think by the letter of the law, it was a hold. Now, again, it wasn't a blatant, obvious one, but I think sometimes when you look at these things, when the DB doesn't even argue it, based on every replay camera angle they showed, James Bradbury did not argue the call. That tells me he knows he grabbed. Maybe he's just not someone who argues. I don't know. But receivers and corners, they want to flag every play. Or they don't want to flag if you're a DB. So I think he knew that he grabbed just a little bit, just enough to get that call. Type champs to celebrate. Let's go. Chiefs have won the Super Bowl. Type champs down in the comments. It's a good day to be a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Type champs down below as they have won Super Bowl 57.